What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back here with another press conference reaction as we play Wolfsberger in the second leg of the Europa League last 32 tomorrow night at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, 5 o'clock kickoff. I know you guys have been waiting a while for us to start, but we're here now. The press conference has been done, and there's been some really interesting snippets there from Jose, haven't there?
Well, I thought this might be an interesting press conference just because of everything that's happened before this, all the articles in the Athletic saying that, some players are not happy about Jose's methods and things like that. Telegraph reporting Jose Mourinho has 4 games to save his job, and Nagelsmann, they're big fans of Nagelsmann, and they might look to him if results don't overturn. So there was always going to be an interesting press conference, and he seems in defiant mood today.
Very defiant move, Jose.
He does,
today.
Very defiant. He seems to want to show confidence, exude confidence and calm about the situation, not panic. Didn't seem very confrontational with the journalists or anything like that. He was just very calm. He put his point across, and he seems confident he can turn it around.
Are you confident he can turn it around?
Not from where we wanted. In terms of at the beginning of the season, we thought we could challenge for the title and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, that's all gone. Do I think we can still have a good end to the season? Yeah, I do. I still think we can. I still think if luck starts turning our way, if we can start getting some wins on the board, if we can build some momentum, we can still turn it around. But it's a tall order at this point.
I think, you got to say, at this point, at this stage of the season, top 6 and a trophy or 2 would be a brilliant season, wouldn't it?
From this point, yeah. I mean, I think if we got top 6 in Carabao Cup, that's okay. It's not brilliant. If we got Europa League in top 6, yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah,
that's what we want.
I mean, Champions League.
We need Champions League. If we can look at this from this point, if he can get us back in the Champions League from this point, I think you got to say it's a brilliant season. Now's the main goal from the beginning of the season. It was to get back in the Champions League, and I think that's what we got to aim for. He was obviously he was asked about his approach going into this game. He was asked how he's looking to set up, and he said, "We want, of course, to qualify, but when you're on a bad run of a result, you need victories. I believe everyone wants in that dressing room is not only to qualify, but also to win the match. In football, anything can happen, but the reality is that a 4-1 victory away from home is good. It's not about losing 3-0 or 2-0 to qualify. It's about winning the game and winning the tie." And he went on to say that our starting lineup will be very similar to the one that played in Budapest. So it looks like he said it's going to be a strong lineup, but it will be very similar to the one who played in Budapest. I'm assuming he's just trying to give players a bit of confidence in that sense, because obviously I don't think when he says similar lineup but it's strong, he doesn't mean he's going to start Son or Kane, or he means the players he's playing are good players, basically, but he's still going to be resting. I'm guessing Højbjerg. He's going to go with the same lineup, except for Son. I think he'll rest Son.
Will be Vinicius instead of Son.
Yeah, Vinicius will start. Yeah.
Do you think there's a chance of any of the periphery players to play even lower down, like the younger players, like Dane Scarlett, who was on the bench?
No, I don't think Dane Scarlett will start.
You don't think any of those players can play?
No, I don't think. I think
Would you play them?
I think I'll be disrespectful to Vinicius if he starts Scarlett ahead of him. So I think I think Vinicius will definitely play. Yeah, according to Dan Kilpatrick, Bale is expected to start the game. And
I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Talking about Bale, he was asked about Bale, how did he feel Bale played in the second half against West Ham, and he was asked, is he convinced? Is he convinced basically about Gareth Bale now that he can play more minutes? And he said in a very strong answer. He said, "Gareth Bale doesn't need to convince me. It's about playing minutes, and I would love him to play every minute possible. It's a process. You need a number of matches he played in previous years. You can see the number of matches he played in previous years is very little. He had a positive impact against West Ham. He had a cross. He had a few assists. He had a shot that hit the post. He's doing that better, but he's not playing 90 minutes. He's managing his evolution. He has nothing to convince me of. Gareth is playing minutes that he feels he can, and what he wants, and what he wants to do is play more matches than he did at the beginning of the season, and especially more crucial matches than he did." So very strong stuff by Gareth Bale about how much he believes in him, and maybe it sounds like we're going to see a lot more Gareth Bale.
Do you think, though, if he starts this game, that means he won't start on the weekend?
Not necessarily, because maybe it could be just means more about building fitness for this one. I don't think he's starting him in a relation to winning the game. I think he's starting him to build him up a bit more. And I think that's what we've got to be looking at. And I think if he obviously starts and has a good appearance, I'm sure he won't play 90 minutes again. I think he has every chance of playing on against Burnley on Sunday, and especially given the form. I know Lucas has been playing well recently. Lamella's had a few decent games, but in terms of real contributions to the final third, no one's on the level of Bale in terms of what they can offer in that.
I mean, in terms of the quality he's shown the last couple of games with us, how imperative is he going to be from now until the end of the season?
If he can,
massive, isn't he?
I mean, if we can get him involved with Son and Kane, like if we can really get that front three going, we could really be formidable in that front three.
It's taken a while.
I know it has taken a while. It has taken a while. It's taken a lot longer than anyone would have wanted. That's no doubt about it. And it's not there yet, so we can't even say we're there yet. But I think we're definitely on our way, and we're definitely in the right direction. And hopefully, I'm just hoping we can get something, get in terms of that front three, in terms of that connection. And that's all we want to see. We want to see them together. We want to see them all firing on all cylinders. And I think we've seen with Bale that he's still got it. That's definitely for sure. It's just about his physical evolution.
Yeah, I love these terms like Jose, the physical evolution.
Yeah, we've got to adopt
the scientific data. The scientific data is here with Gareth Bale. It's finally arrived, people.
The scientific data with our eyes. I can physically
the visual
see
data. The visual data
physics,
is here.
I can physically see him playing well with my eyes. It's physics.
But I just want to say, just before we carry on with this press conference reaction, I just want to say that after we get done with the press conference reaction, we'll give you your chance to have your say on the kind of press conference reaction, a bit of a pre-match fan show as well. I can already see Marcelo waiting there in the back end, so he will be first up. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So you got yourself that to get excited about. Let's just
keep going.
Keep going.
Yeah, I want to know people's opinions on what Mourinho has to say, because he's got some interesting things to say the least. Next question. He was asked about his run of form, and he was basically asked, is he concerned about his run of form? It's one of the worst run of results in his career, and is he worried about it? And he said, it's a positive when you say stuff like that. And he says I can see positive in the negative, that when you say that I'm not used to results like this, but I want to know which coach has always had blue sky, never cloudy, and it's never dark. Perhaps only a coach who's always at a dominant club in a league. Maybe he's hinting at someone there. Well,
judging by some fans on Twitter over the last couple of days, Pochettino never had any grey clouds above him.
Yeah, apparently. But that wasn't the end of the answer. He said, does it make me depressed? No. It's a challenge. I work for the club, the players and the supporters. I always feel I have to give them so much. It hurts me, and it's a great challenge for me, and I believe I can give it. I give it everywhere I've been. I'm more motivated than ever to turn this around. I've never felt I've never felt what normal coaches feel when results are bad. They are lonely men. That's what we normally are. I never felt that in this building. I feel not only respected but supported. Everybody is in the same boat. Nobody is happy with the results, but nobody is depressed either. I feel positive.
The fans are bloody depressed, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's definitely true. But he says, I feel positive. Maybe a bit weird for you after losing so many matches, but I am positive. I'm not happy, but I wake up wanting to come here every day. Everybody is loving training and working hard with so many matches.
From what I'm seeing on the pitch, I'm not seeing a team that have completely given up, and I still see a team trying out there, especially when we go down, that's for sure. But take the West Ham game for example. First half, clearly wasn't good enough, but second half you saw a spirited performance from the lads, didn't you?
Yeah,
a team fighting for the shirt and a team potentially fighting for the manager as well.
Yeah, I don't see a team that's not playing for us, and I know obviously results are not good enough, and the manager has to take a lot of responsibility for that. But I don't think it's been a very complicated season. We had all those Europa League playoffs, and we're playing every 3 days, and it's non-stop. And when you're in a bad run of form, it just gets exacerbated by the season. And then also when you're in a good run of form, it can also, on the flip side, get exacerbated. And obviously, there's no excuse for us being 9 points behind West Ham. That's clear underachievement, but we are 9 points behind West Ham after 25 games. If we're still 9 points behind West Ham after 38 games, then yeah, you got to say that's complete underachievement and he has to take responsibility. But let's just wait and assess and see if we can turn it around.
It's also the whole media circus that surrounds Jose Mourinho that affects everyone around the club as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Especially the fans.
And we'll get onto that because he was asked about his comment after the game about things that he's not able to coach out the team, and we'll get into his response. Which
Let me just read this super chat out before you carry on.
Go on.
It's from the King, and he says, "Need world-class centre back at least to lead the back line," and I mean that's what everyone's been calling for, isn't it? So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, go on.
All right. So the next question he was asked was in relation to his relationship with Levy. And obviously, because I'm guessing he's asked this question because all the articles have been come out in the last 24 hours or so about Mourinho having a 4-game save his job and Levy's potentially looking at successors. He said,
Nagelsmann's lined up and all that
kind of stuff. He said, my relationship is the same since day one, which is one of respect and open communication. We respect each other. There is no contradiction between us because we both feel the same. I believe I believe we all feel the same feelings. Nobody is happy. Nobody is depressed, and everybody feels we are going to do better. He also goes on to say, I don't know if I feel a debt to Levy. I don't know if debt is the right word. What I feel to Mr. Levy is what I feel in every club. Mr. Levy, sorry, is what I feel in every club I've worked in. I want to give happiness to everyone, the chairman, the players, the fans, everybody connected to the club, and I feel one of them. And I want to give happiness to them. I don't, and that is not going to change. So I mean,
he's getting paid enough to want to give us happiness. So,
yeah, and he says I don't change as well. So yeah, he goes on to say that about his relationship with Levy. I think he seemed to have a decent relationship with Levy in the documentary and stuff. But it's obviously hard to know.
Levy's been chasing him for long enough.
Yeah. And I don't think he's going to chuck him away after one just bad results. Obviously, look, this is a pretty horrendous set of results, and if this does continue, I think any manager after this run of results, their position would be under threat. But I think he's willing. I think he's willing to give Mourinho a bit of time to turn it around.
Yeah, I think he's got to. Levy's a clever man. At the end of the day, he's got to give him time.
Yeah,
he's got to give him time. And look, if we're still this many points behind West Ham by the end of the season,
then yeah.
You've got to question it. You have to.
Of course you do.
But right now, it's too knee-jerk to start calling for Mourinho's head right now. You got to take everything into account, and everything into account doesn't tell me that Mourinho needs to go.
Not just yet. Okay. So then he was asked about fans back in the stadiums and stuff like that, and is he looking forward to it? And he said, "We'll wait for the authorities to take the right decision and all that kind of stuff. Whatever, no, who really cares what he has to say about fans back in the stadium?" But then he was asked about what more interesting. He was asked about his comments at the end of last game. He was asked about when he said the team there are some things he can't resolve as just simply as a coach. There are some things he can't always resolve. He said basically that he was basically saying that look, he does 3 flash interviews, he does 2-3 press conferences after every game. He also does post-match interviews. He's talking a lot. He said obviously after in a post-match interview is the perfect time to catch him at his most frustrated after a result like that, and the media always takes his words to mean something that he maybe is not relation to what he actually means by what he said about that. He was talking about like various different things, not necessarily what the media thinks he meant by it, for example players and stuff. And he said maybe this weekend one of my colleagues also went a bit far in his words, but it's not Jose Mourinho, so it's not a big problem. We have to be careful not to say the wrong things after a defeat. And the question is, who is he talking about when he says this weekend one of my colleagues went a bit far in his words, but it's not Mourinho, so it's not a big problem?
I can't think of any of his colleagues that came out and was speaking.
I mean, they all say something in a press conference, but I'm trying to think of anyone who said something in particular. To be honest,
I didn't see the player. I didn't see any of the interviews after the game. I only saw Jose's, so I can't really say who he's talking about or what he's talking about.
Yeah, I want to maybe people in the comments can have any idea. Is anyone in the comments has any idea who Mourinho could be talking about? He might be talking about one of the other managers in the league who've also said said something to the press. And in their interview, which maybe would have been perceived,
maybe it's something Klopp said after his defeat at Everton.
Klopp
To Everton.
Yeah, probably. What did he say after
I
his
don't know.
defeat? I can't remember. Is it anyone? People saying Klopp? Maybe Tuchel? Maybe.
I don't know what Tuchel said either.
Yeah, because he was talking about Callum Hudson-Odoi about he wasn't.
Oh, he was talking about that whole thing.
Maybe could be talking about the Tuchel about how he said, like, because if Mourinho says that out in public, like everyone's saying, "Oh, he's toxic." Look how, but if Tuchel does it, it's a bit different, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's not Mourinho. Everyone's like, "Oh, he's only new in the job. Give him a chance." But if Mourinho does that,
I think that is it. That must be what he's talking about.
Yeah, he must be talking about Tuchel. Must be talking about Tuchel. People saying Pep. I think it is Tuchel. I think that's probably the most likely situation. Callum Carr says, "Would you take Skriniar and Donnarumma in the summer?" I mean, yeah, obviously.
Would you take Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo to lead the front line?
Would you think Mbappe should sign? Anyway, sorry, I don't mean to be so dismissive, but yeah, I mean, yes, I would take Skriniar and Donnarumma. People saying Klopp or Tuchel.
Yeah, it's got to be Tuchel.
I think it is Tuchel. I think it is Tuchel.
All right. There was one last question.
There's a few more. There's a few more.
Okay.
He says he was asked about Alistair Gold about centre backs, about why he hasn't had a consistent centre back pairing, and is that leading to a lack of consistency? He said, it's not I can't see in the answer here, but I did when I watched the interview. He said basically that we've had 40 matches this season. We've had a lot of games. You can't play with the same centre backs every game, and obviously, in relation to performance and mistakes, I've had to make a few changes, but because of the so many games, and you've got to include internationals in that as well, there should have been so many games that I need to manage the situation, and I can't play with same centre backs each game. And then he said on the Toby Alderweireld, he said Toby didn't play against West Ham, but tomorrow he will play. That's obvious. So looks like Toby's confirming.
Toby and Dyer at the back tomorrow.
Yeah, unless he goes Toby and Sanchez, and then Toby and Dyer against Burnley, maybe. I'm not sure, or maybe Rodon plays against Burnley. I wouldn't be surprised if Sanchez plays tomorrow, to be honest.
Yeah, I want to hear an update on Rodon because apparently he wasn't in the squad because of some family problems.
Yeah, I heard that.
I haven't heard that from official source. I'm just hearing people talk about it.
Yeah, I heard that from yeah, exactly. I heard rumors about that. I don't know how true it is. He was then asked about basically how he reacts to defeat now, and how he is to try and turn it around, and how he's reacted before the defeats, and how he wants to react now. He said, "Thank God I'm not the manager I used to be. We all evolve. Sometimes I had problems not in terms of results, and I didn't have many bad results, but day-to-day problems, and I reacted in a much more emotional way. Instead of helping myself, I used to create more conflicts. As an example, I left Chelsea as a champion. Maybe your experience as a journalist tells you that people with more experience can deal with negative things better. We are calm. I'm not happy, but mature. But maturity helps, and I'm feeling very confident. I believe that we will win. We will win through, and that I will be in Tottenham's history through good reasons rather than bad." Very defined ending to his press conference there.
I mean, that's the quote, isn't it? But I mean, I really hope he's right, man. I really hope he has the tools to kind of get him to where he belongs, really, fighting at the top end of the league. Because he can't do it without the help of the board at the end of the day, and that's the facts of the matter.
Yeah, but do you think do you think he is truth? Maybe he's saying how he's evolved. He's not as confrontational as he was.
But we said this already this season quite a lot, and he said in his first press conference at Tottenham, he said it as well about how he's learnt a lot from his Man United days. He's learnt a lot about all his other jobs, and he's a changed man, and he kind of took that year out to kind of work on himself and work on how he can refresh himself as a manager.
Has he proved it?
Yeah, I think he has. I think he deals with things in a very different way. That's for sure. I think that the way he deals with the press, the way he deals with his players, the old Jose Mourinho would never have let Ndombele back in. The old Jose Mourinho would never have let Dele Alli back in. You know what I mean? So I think in these kind of situations, he has kind of proved that.
He's proved it, but is it working? Is it too easy just to say right now it's not working because we're on a bad run of form?
It's too easy to say that, but we all know that there's problems higher than Jose Mourinho. Why we're in this mess? It's not because of Jose Mourinho. We keep saying that week in, week out, day in, day out.
Yeah,
I mean, Jose Mourinho, obviously he hasn't been perfect, and he does have his flaws, but ultimately he's been let down by the personnel in the squad, and even before that, the investment into the squad.
But when you're talking about the Athletic article, who've claimed to have sources in the dressing room, and they've usually had very reliable sources when they released an article, and I remember at the back end of Poch, it was actually after the 3-0 defeat against Brighton, they released this article about there's the friction in the dressing room and how they don't believe in his methods anymore, and then not, lo and behold, a couple of weeks later, we sacked him. They've released a very similar article about how the players feel, or some players, he said they went to say, first of all, that he hasn't lost the whole dressing room, just like they said Pochettino hadn't lost the whole dressing room, but some players feel like the tactics are too defensive, the tactics rely too much on just getting the ball to Harry Kane and Heung-min Son, and all we're focusing on is the opposition. But the one thing that for me that stood out was players apparently claiming that the training methods are not intense enough, and they want more intensity. And apparently when they had a free week against Wickham, they were so happy to have finally been worked harder than they had been after
winds me up so much. That it winds me up.
That
so
really
much.
Annoyed me when I read that.
It really winds me up, because even that just shows me it's not Jose Mourinho's methods. It's these snakes in the squad that we have. It's these absolute snakes. Like you said, at the back end of Pochettino, the Athletic wrote this article. Oh, we're being worked so hard. We're being overworked.
They couldn't give anything. They had nothing to give.
We can't give anymore.
They hated double sessions. It was too intense.
It's ridiculous. These snakes in the squad.
And now they're saying the opposite.
It's absolute snakes. They threw Poch under the bus. The same players are throwing Jose Mourinho under the bus. The same players will throw the next manager under the bus. And it's a joke. We need to get these players out.
Yeah, but we're not talking about Kane, I'm sure. We're not talking about Son. We're not talking about Højbjerg. But who are we talking about here?
Well, you know who was one that threw Pochettino on the bus was Toby Alderweireld.
But you think we think Toby's part of that?
It's so hard to tell. I tell you what, Sissoko is definitely part of that.
I think Sissoko, because you remember what made me convince him Sissoko is definitely a part of it is, when in the Amazon documentary, when Sacramento said Sissoko's a massive influence in the dressing room, and then Mourinho's like, and then he was like, and he wasn't happy about that.
You know what confirmed it in my mind is his performances the last month or so. His performance against Chelsea when he's just strolling around the pitch. That's not Moussa Sissoko.
Definitely not.
That's not Moussa Sissoko. Moussa Sissoko, he covers every blade of grass. He puts 100% in for the team. He hasn't been the last month.
Yeah. I completely agree. But when the worry I have is when articles like this start coming out, it's not a good sign.
It's not never a good sign.
Never usually a good sign.
And ultimately, the manager always does pay the price. But we got to look at the bigger picture. We got to start acting bigger than this, because there are players in that team, players in that squad, like I said, threw Pochettino under, are throwing Jose under, and are going to throw the next manager under. So until we sort out that problem, we're never going to get out of this shit that we're in.
And it's interesting the narratives people say, like, oh, it's up to Mourinho to motivate these players and get the best out of them and stuff. And yes, that is true to an extent. But if you remember when Pochettino first came in, he had a whole what was it? What do they used to call them? The people who railed against him, the rebellion.
I can't remember. I know the Kabuls, the Adebayors.
Yeah, Kabul, Lennon, Adebayor. He had a whole crew of people who were rebellious against all his ideas.
Yeah.
And it wasn't Levy did, all the Spurs fans weren't saying at the time, or Levy didn't say at the time, like, oh, you're just bad manager if you can't motivate them. It was like, okay, we'll get them out, and we'll get all of them out. We'll get all of them out. And that's exactly what they did.
Poch wanted the majority of these players out 2 years before he left. You know what I mean? He was calling for that rebuild 2 years before he left. This was always going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. And now we're in a situation where we still need to go through that big rebuild. And although we did sign a lot of players in the summer, it just didn't rectify the core issues in the squad, which these players are causing at the moment. Someone in the comments saying Sissoko, Dyer, Aurier, Lucas Moura, and possibly Toby are likely candidates.
Can't see it being Lucas Moura.
No, he loves Lucas Moura, Mourinho, so I don't know if it's him. I don't know if anyone's rebelling, maybe not outwardly rebelling, but maybe they're doing it privately and, sources, maybe they're quietly going to the press and all these sources and stuff. That's not good. It's not a good look. And it's definitely something that needs to be sorted within the squad. But yeah, when I saw that article, that really frustrated me. And people, I read the article, and obviously the article's trying to paint a picture that Mourinho's in trouble and the players are losing trust in Mourinho, and Mourinho's the problem. But I didn't get that from the article. I didn't get that feeling from the article.
The only thing that worries me is the going forward stuff about only Kane and Son being our kind of.
Yeah, but I remember very clearly when he was on Sky Sports. And I think it was before the Spurs Arsenal game. When he was He was being a pundit for Sky Sports, and he was talking about his like attacking philosophy. And he was saying clubs with real vision, when they're in possession, they build from the back with three at the back, and they can get wider, and they can get more players in the box, and they can. And he was talking about how he likes to attack and how it's changed in the modern game and stuff like that. So I really find it hard. And also, you simply can't win what he's won without attacking. At least sometimes, you know what I mean? You just can't. It's not possible. So I refuse to believe that he has zero attacking plan. Maybe it is too defensive, and that's always a criticism I've had of Mourinho in the past, that he's just too focused on the opposition, and that's true. That might still be true, but I refuse to believe that there's no plan to attack and there's no training on how we're going to attack the opposition. And when people, and also they're saying, oh, he's too focused on the opposition weaknesses, but one of the ways you attack is by exposing the weaknesses of the opposition, and that's one of the ways you have to you plan to attack in the training ground.
Yeah, look, there's two ways of going about it. The way that Pochettino did it was sticking to his guns and not changing the way he plays for anyone, kind of thing. And we did find success. The way Klopp's found all the success is you stick to your guns and you don't change for anyone. And the same with Pep Guardiola as well. You know what I mean? There's not only one way to go about things, but I trust Jose Mourinho and I trust his methods.
Yeah, his methods have been proven to work. And it might end sourly, and he might leave. And if he does leave. But I fully believe that Mourinho can be a success, and his methods can still work in the modern game, and it's got nothing to do.
I just want to apologize to Matt Hayes because he said I was wondering why I had no viewers on my stream. I didn't know you guys were streaming. Sorry about that, Matt Hayes, but glad you're here with us to join us today.
Apologies, Matt. Didn't mean to take all your viewers. But everyone go subscribe to Matt Hayes. Great channel.
Go subscribe to Matt Hayes.
Quickly before we get fans on, we'll talk about Ben Davies, who was also doing a press conference as well. So that pretty much confirms he's going to start, pretty much, I think. Or even Mourinho says it doesn't have to be, but it will be because Reguilon's back. He was asked about Bale. He said, I think for me, I've never had one doubt about Gareth Bale. There's a narrative around him that he's either brilliant one week or he's not brilliant the next week. He hasn't played a lot of football in the past 2 years. He was probably our best player against West Ham.
He most definitely was.
Yeah, most definitely was. Obviously, Bale... Obviously, Dave's always going to back his teammate, isn't he? But he sees him firsthand in Wales as well, so he's been with him a long time.
But he knows him more than anyone.
He does know him exactly, and it's good to hear those words. He was also talking about Mourinho, and he said he's been great with us this week. It's not where we want to be right now, and you have to go through tough periods, and you have to be reflective and stand up to the pressure. And we need to turn this around.
Go on.
Mourinho basically in his press conference said that after the West Ham game, they didn't go home and they went straight to Hotspur Way. And Davis to analyse the performance. And Davis was asked about that, and he said, "You have to get out your system. It's not to clear the air, but it's an understanding of where we need to improve and where we went wrong, what we did well, and what we can learn from each game. When you lose games, it is more important than any. It is more of a chance to learn from it and develop and see where you went wrong. And hopefully, we can start doing that from tomorrow." And then more from Mourinho, from the last bit from Ben Davies. He said he was asked basically what it's like to be managed by a manager like Mourinho. He said, "This is my first experience with obviously this is the first time I've worked under Mourinho and somebody with his football CV and his pedigree in the game. What he's won, it's his way of working, and as players, we have to buy into that. You could have said 2 months ago that we were looking like we were on top of the world. This is football. I think you'll always have different managers with different ways of working. You'll always have different results and different periods of challenges along the way. He will set us up the way he wants to, and we have full respect and full belief in the way he's working. And as players, it's up to us to stand up. Really, we've got to put our best foot forward as best we can." Then he was asked, "Is he less fiery than we expected from outside?" He said, and Ben Davies said, "No, not at all. He's he's desperate to win. That rubs off from the players, definitely. Like I said, he's got an amazing pedigree. He's won everything that there possibly is to win. And as a player, you can only thrive off that."
Doesn't seem like they're thriving at the moment. But I kind of just do feel, though, I don't see a real team in crisis when I see us play. I see a team which is not riding their luck, making horrendous individual errors week in, week out. But actually, some of our play is really good. And I feel that we just need a bit of rub of the green just to go our way, and then we can go on a bit of a run. I really believe that.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I feel like as well, these mistakes especially when you're on a bad run, it just puts your confidence down when
Mhm.
you're on a bad run. And when you're playing well and you're doing all right in the games, you're competitive, and then you're well in the game, and then you're working really hard to try and get a goal. Teams are staying back against you, they're defending really well, and you're trying to play good football, you're trying to push forward, and then you just make a stupid, horrendous error at the back, like an individual mistake, and it costs you a goal, and then you have to start again, and it's like you have to work 10 times harder to get back in it. It's just a lot harder. It can be very, very costly, and it could definitely affect the mentality of the team and definitely affect the psychology, and that's very, very important aspects in football, which get completely overlooked, I feel. And I feel, and it also gives the opposition a lift when that happens, when it's so easy for them to score.
Because
And it's
they
so
know
hard
all
for you
they need to
score.
do is make a half-assed attempt to go up there, and they will be pressured into a bad mistake.
Like how easy was it for West Ham to score against us, and how difficult was did they make it for us to score against them? And that's the trouble at the moment. But it's not because it was like wave after wave of attack for West Ham. It wasn't. They literally went up a couple of times and they just got a couple of lucky mistakes. And if we don't make those mistakes, we win the game.
Thank you, Davinson.
Sorry?
I said thank you, Davinson.
Yeah, sorry. I thought he was saying something in the comments. But all right, look, that's the press conference.
Shall we start getting some people on?
Yeah.
I think it's Marcelo time on this channel. That
I want to know Marcelo.
I
want to know his thoughts on Mourinho. I want to know what he's thinking at the moment.
All right, Marcelo. How's it going?
Boys, how are we doing? I'm doing good.
It's not in. Marcelo?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, all good.
Yeah. How we doing?
1 second, Marcelo. Just framing us up properly.
Yeah, no problem.
StreamYard's a bit different for the framing. Can you just fiddle with that a bit? It's the other one, actually. Sorry, it's that one. Here's that one. Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, hear me now. Come on, Marcelo.
Come on. Listen, I just gotta give you guys a big round of applause. I've been, agreeing with everything you guys are saying. What's going on right now is basically what's going on with Pochettino in the beginning. You know what I mean? When he had the bum squad, he had to get rid of them. He didn't just say, "Oh yeah, let's keep them." No, he ruthlessly got rid of them, and we as fans stuck by. Well, I remember some fans wanting him sacked, and I remember, like, no, stick with this guy, give him a chance, let him get him the players that he wants. And I feel like we got to give Jose the same chance. That's what I say about any manager. People think, oh, he's a Jose sexual and everything. Look, if Jose gets sacked, and we get Nagelsmann in, I would be saying the same thing about the guy. You know what I mean? Give him a chance, give him a proper run. Let's get the players that he wants. Let's see his vision. Right now, I don't think we're giving Jose the same chance, and it's very unfair. And honestly, I'm disappointed with the fan base and how we're treating Jose and the disrespect I see. Sometimes it's horrible, man. He doesn't deserve that, and he at least deserves until the end of the season. I say, you know what I mean? I said I'd give him the 2 summers, but if by the end of the season he doesn't win the Europa, he doesn't win League Cup, and his form still continues, it's 10th, I got to hold up my hands and say, look, maybe a sack could be justified. But, you got to give the managers a shot. And what he said, I don't know if it gives me any motivation, if I'm going to be honest. It's just what I'm seeing in the media. It's got Poch, 2.0 written all over it. And I was one of those people that made the mistake of saying, let's sack Pochettino. I was like, yeah, I think he's done over here, man. And you can fool me once, but you can't fool me twice. And I know who these players are that are the snakes. Sissoko, Sanchez. I think a lot of these deadwoods. It's not a coincidence that, Son and Kane and Højbjerg and Reguilon and all the players who go out there and do well and fight for the badge are the ones coming out defending Jose Mourinho. It's not a coincidence, guys. It's all the deadwoods that are coming out. Like, let's wake up now. They did it with Pochettino. And, people go and say, oh, yeah, but remember this great time with Pochettino and how he used to get us Champions League football. That was with a different squad. That's when he had Jan, Wainama, Dembele, guys that used to fight for the badge, that cared. And like you said, Ben, he wanted to replace these guys. 2 years ago. He wanted to replace half of these guys, but we didn't. And they got him sacked. And they know that. Listen, they're not dumb. These guys know that. They know that. Half of these guys know that Tottenham Hotspurs is the last big hurrah for them. This is the last big club they'll ever play for. You know what I mean? After that, Sissoko, he's going to the Chinese league. Dyer probably gonna go to a championship. Sanchez, you know what I mean? I don't know, probably retire. Like it's just, and for me, I'm looking at like you guys. I'm looking at the bigger picture. I'm like, if we bring in Nagelsmann, I think the same thing is gonna happen. You know, obviously, I'm a positive fan. You know, I'll say, yeah, I know Nagelsmann, he's going to change it around. He's going to win us the Premier League, the Champions League, all that stuff, all that nonsense. That's just how I am. I still believe we can win the Europa League. People call me absolutely, crazy, and I probably am, but I still believe we can win in the Europa League. As long as we're in the competition, we can win it. That's just my opinion. We can win the League Cup. I believe in that. 90 minutes of football, anything can happen. But
I see no reason why we can't win Europa League this year.
yeah, and I say this, like, for the same people that tell me, oh, you're an idiot if you think you can win the Europa League. Oh, you're going to give Jose the rest of the season to win the Europa League? You're an idiot. You're an idiot. Okay, so then you're a Nagelsmann then, right, guy, right? So what evidence do you have that tells me if Nagelsmann come in here, he's going to have great success at Tottenham? Because we look back at all the other managers, they weren't able to do it. So what evidence you got to tell me that he's going to do it? I look back.
It's
at
just
Jose.
pure reactionary. It's just pure reactionary bullshit.
And they complained about Pochettino's being too intense. His methods, right? Is Nagelsmann going to be less intense? Is he going to
probably be more intense?
Exactly.
Probably more intense. The weather's too bad. London is raining. The pitch was
Marcel,
slippery.
let me read you an excerpt from the article from the Athletic that they posted today. They said. The Athletic has learned from multiple dressing room sources that although Mourinho has not lost the whole dressing room yet, some of the team are increasingly unhappy with his approach, and this disquiet is starting to tell in the results. It also goes on to say a section of the players who used to complain about Pochettino's double sessions and rare days off now wish they were working harder. So what do you say to that?
BS. You know what I mean? I don't want to curse, but it's all BS. Look, you're complaining about a proven winner's tactics. You're complaining about a style of football, but then you also complain about the style of football and the style of training from a guy who played attacking football. But like when they play possession football, intense football, they were complaining about that. Now we're playing more, defensive, low block, less intense, I guess, less pressing. And now they're complaining about that. It's like there's no the thing is these guys know they're not good enough to be at this club. They know that, but they're never going to make six figures at another club. They're never going to have the same fame. They're never going to get into another top Premier League side. It's just they're never going to do it. So they're smart. They're going to throw them under the bus. The fans are eating the bait. And listen, if Jose does get sacked, I just honestly hope we wake up with whatever next manager comes in. We wake up. We start blaming the players. We start blaming some people in the fault. I always keep saying Steve Hitchen. When Mitchell left, look at the recruitment. Since Mitchell left, the recruitment has been horrible. Like this board keeps cutting corners. This board keeps cutting corners. Okay, you wanna create a system where we buy and sell, right? Who you get Steve Hitchen, who doesn't know how to do that. He doesn't know how to do that. Why not get a Luis Campos who has an eye for talent, young talent? You know what I mean? We're a club that goes and hires prospect. That's just who we are. And then we sell them for, triple the figures. But then you cut corners and you get Steve Hitchen because he's cheap. But then he's going to get you these dead players like Jetson Fernandez, and then we're going to lose profits off that. So it's not even it's not even smart business wise. It's just not smart in general what we're doing, man. What this club is doing is just not smart.
Where is the line between when it's the manager's responsibility and players' responsibility? Where is the line between where the manager has to ultimately come at a cost to what he's performing on the pitch when it is his job to improve the team, it is his job to motivate the players, and where is that line? Do you think?
I think Jose, he does have some blame. I think his substitutions have been horrendous throughout this whole entire season. I've always criticized the substitutions. I think they have been horrendous. Sometimes he has not gotten the tactics right. Sitting back, not trying to go for the kill. But also, in terms of management, I don't think he did anything wrong. I mean, how many chances are you going to give Dele Alli? How many chances are he gave like Endon Baller so many chances. He's still giving him chances. He's still giving Dele Alli chances. Like at a point, the player has to take those chances. Like they have to take the chances. They have to go out there and perform. Like Dele Alli saying, "Oh yeah, all we do is throw it long and hope and
Defend.
pray. Oh, let's criticize Jose Mourinho, bro. Who are these players to criticize Jose Mourinho?" And I know people say, "Oh, but look, I don't care about his CV. I don't care about his CV, bro. You should care about his CV because his CV is the only thing for me that still gives me hope in this season. His CV is the only reason I still have hope that we can win not the Premier League, the Europa League, because now the Premier League is far gone. I'm not even that delusional, but you know what I mean. Like it's just the Europa League. I remember when he was with United. United were a really poor team. You know what I mean? They were having a poor run in the Premier League. They were losing. I think they finished sixth that season. If I'm wrong, they were very poor. But he still won the Europa League because he's a master tactician. He knows how to win trophies. So for me, give him till the end of the season. You have to when you have a proven winner like that. And if he doesn't win trophies and he doesn't turn it up in the league and it all falls down, then I can raise my hand and say, look, didn't work out. I'm sorry. It is what it is. But at the same time, like the fans are way too reactionary. And honestly, I think this fan base is absolute joke because I think half of these fans already had a Jose out agenda because of the Chelsea connection. I think half of these fans coming out were wishing for him to fail. If you're wishing Jose to fail, I'm sorry, your mind isn't on Tottenham because him failing is Tottenham failing. So why would you
Yeah.
want a guy like that to fail? I want him to succeed. I don't care who comes in, bro. I'm not a Jose sexual. I'm not a pod sexual. I'm not a redneck sexual, bro. Like anybody who
You're a
comes
Tottenham
in,
sexual, just like all of
exactly,
us.
bro. Yeah, exactly. Anybody who comes in, I will wish him success. I'll give him time to turn it around. Anybody. I follow Tottenham Hotspurs. I don't care about the Chelsea connection. As far as when he walked that door, put on that shirt, put on that crest, those Chelsea connections were dead to me, bro. Dead to me, and I gave him a fair shot, and I'm still willing to give him a fair shot. And I think the toxicity, the disrespect we've given our manager, it's just we're basically, you know what? We're a poor man's Chelsea right now. Our fan base is a poor man's Chelsea right now. We sack managers, we ask for managers ahead when we haven't even given them a chance or backed them. You know what I mean? At least Abramovich backs his managers before he sacked them. It's ridiculous. I'm so disappointed with our fan base. I mean, obviously not you guys, the people who are willing to give Jose a chance, didn't have an agenda in the first place, were able to, have an open mind. Look, I didn't want him. I told you, Ben, I didn't want him when he
Me
first came in.
neither.
I
Me
wanted
neither.
Ten Hag. I wanted Ten Hag, but it doesn't matter
Same
who
as
I
me.
want. Yeah, it doesn't matter who I want. When they come in and they put on the shirt, he is my manager, and I will back him, and I'll give him a
I
fair shot.
completely agree.
It's
I
just
completely. I just want to say to these fans as well, I have no problem with fans wanting Jose out. That's not a problem. But don't kind of bring it in a very toxic way, which they're bringing it. Because,
yeah.
fans claim that Jose Mourinho comes with this toxic attitude is that. But they're doing exactly the same.
You know
So
what the worst thing? Number one worst thing is fans of our club who have another manager as an AVI. What is that on Twitter? I've never seen such stupidity in my life.
Yeah,
What are you doing having a
yeah.
Twitter account with another club's manager in your AVI? What is wrong with you?
And then I see like all these other Avies. Oh yeah, let's get Madison guys. Let's put the Madison Abbey. Oh yeah, like honestly,
What is this ridiculousness?
it's ridiculous, man. You know what I mean? Seeing the Ten Hag Abbey, like you show no. For me, like I said it on Twitter, and whether you agree with me or not, I say if you're acting like that, honestly, and you have these stinky agendas, and you're making the club toxic, you don't deserve to celebrate the success of Jose Mourinho if he has some at
have a bit
Tottenham.
of loyalty, man.
Yeah,
Have a
have a
bit of
little bit of
loyalty.
loyalty. It goes back
All
and
fans
forth.
call on players, managers, all these people to have loyalty.
But we
Where's the
don't.
fans' loyalty, man?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, exactly. It goes both ways, man. So for me, I said it on Twitter. If Jose Mourinho turns it around, gets Europa League, all you people who disrespect him, all you people who were toxic, who have your stinky agendas, you do not deserve to celebrate a single ounce of that because you are not loyal. Because if you're not loyal with your manager, you're also not loyal to the club. You know what I mean? In my opinion, I think if you're not giving the manager a fair shot and you're just having these stinky agendas over, what's better for the club, because that's what I think it is, bro. These people just have a stinky agenda over the club. They just want to see a fresh new face. They don't like Jose Mourinho. Oh, Nagelsmann, he wears tight shorts. He's so pretty. Oh my God, I love it. Like, come on, man, come off it. You know what I mean? People are, telling me, oh, he's going to do great things at the club. And then when I say, oh, but Jose can win the Europa League, like we're already, what, in the round 16? Anything can happen in round 16. If we get into the quarterfinals, we get past the quarterfinals, we're in it to win it, baby. But people then tell me, no, that's unrealistic. But I'm like, okay, so it's realistic that Nagelsmann comes in and he completely wins trophies at Tottenham when, 13, 14 other managers haven't. All right, man, good job. It's just like I'm sick of it, man. I'm sick of this toxicity. We need to be strong as a club. We need to have a backbone, for fuck's sakes. We need to start having a backbone. Show some mentality, man. Show some respect. I don't know, like, just be strong. I know it's tough. Listen, that West Ham, bro, I call these players, Judas Campbells. I understand how tough it can be. You know what I mean? That West Ham, I text David in the middle of the night saying how pissed off I couldn't sleep, bro. Like I understand. I get affected by these losses more, more than anybody. I don't go to sleep when we lose, but it's just you gotta stick by. You gotta stick by and be hopeful. When there's hope, when there's a way, where there's hope. There's a way, man. And we're in the League Cup final. We're in Europa League. Okay. 9 points up, top four is not good, but listen, I've seen it been turned around. I seen Ole turning around. I seen, I remember when Brandon Rodgers had that huge, decline later in the season. I seen that many times. There's so many games left to go. You never know. It's unlikely, but you never know. You will never know until you give him until the end of the season. That's what I'm saying. You will never know what's going to happen to you. You may be right. I'm not saying you can't. You may be right. He may be a failure, and then we have to sack him in the summer. But you don't know, man. You don't know. Give him a chance.
100%.
Yeah. But thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Nice one, Marcelo.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Spurs.
Up the Spurs. We'll speak to you tomorrow night, hopefully. Right, that was a good, passionate discussion.
Apparently, so Lo Celso is back in training, but apparently Mourinho said he's not ready to play yet, and he still might be a week or two away.
Yeah, I imagine that.
But he's back in training, and he's back on the pitch, though. So that's very positive. I haven't seen Aurier, though, although Aurier said he was back. I haven't seen anything from him yet.
Who's that?
Apparently, this guy, there's a youngster who's been added to the Europa League squad for the game tomorrow.
Huh.
Marcandi, training with the first team.
Marcandi. All right.
Marcandi. And there's another player. There's another two players. I can't remember who the other one was. I'll find it later. But yeah.
Let's get Charlie on.
Charlie THFC. Come on. I can hear myself. Is there any way we can stop that?
I don't think so. Hi, Charlie. How's it going, mate?
Yeah, good. Can you hear me, guys? Can you hear me?
Yeah, all good. What did you make at the Jose press conference today?
Look, it's an interesting one because, I'm sure, most fans at the moment, I'm just deflated at the whole situation. And look, of course, Jose, he was obviously going to be asked about everything that's going on, like the West Ham game, what he said after, and it was a long, passionate press conference. I've seen a few quotes of it, and you can completely understand where he's coming from because, as I said, Marcelo was on, and I really like what he was saying because it's completely true. Like, the stuff that I've seen today that you guys were talking about from The Athletic, the article and stuff, for me, that makes me feel pretty much ashamed. It really does. It makes me feel pretty awful because this is the same stuff that we saw towards the end of Poch when we were hearing, some players, they don't like the methods, the extra hard-working training sessions. Well, now it just seems to be the complete opposite. Like, what's that all about? And it's got to a point, and I've been saying this on my own stream and other people's streams for a while now, that I've never felt so disconnected with certain players at Tottenham. Like, obviously, I'm not as old as some fans and stuff, but I've seen other teams and stuff, and I'm just so disconnected with it's just so many of these players just continuously bottling it, letting us down, and making mistakes, as we know. Individual errors FC in full effect. So, yeah, it really does worry me. And the Jose thing, I've said this for so long now to all these Jose out fans, that Jose is, yes, he has his faults. I have been quite annoyed with some of his team selections and substitutions, but he's not the big problem. He's not the bigger picture. The biggest problem is the board. And I've said that for ages, that people are saying get Nagelsmann, and I do think Nagelsmann, he's a good manager. I like the look of him at Leipzig, but the problem will still remain. How can any manager in world football be expected to get anything out of some of these players that are apparently throwing two managers under the bus? And for me, it just really stinks of just, as I said, the back end of Pochettino, when the certain players, the likes of Sissoko, who we're seeing now walking around against Chelsea, the likes of, as I said, there's more that I can't think of, just throwing managers under the bus. And until we get these poisons and just players out of the club, I just don't see how any manager will be able to fix our problems. And the fan base, I've seen it, people saying that, I hope we lose the next 4 games, but so Jose can go. That's ridiculous. That's absolute bullshit for me, because we should, as a fan base, we should want Jose to succeed because he's Tottenham manager. Whoever the manager of Tottenham is, we should want them to succeed because they're Tottenham. They're part of the club. They're the one managing the team and managing wins or whatever it is. We should want them to succeed, not, hope we lose just so he goes. No, that's the wrong mentality. And I think the fan base just have to take a long, hard look at themselves, because they're part of the problem, as I've said for a long time. Some of these fans are part of the problem. Fans that just have this agenda against Jose for whatever it may be, the Chelsea thing or just whatever, just his personality. For me, I've always liked Jose. I've always just liked the way he is, his character. Even when he was at Chelsea, to be honest, I've just liked him as a character in the game. And he deserves the backing. He really does. He deserves the backing from the fan base and the board, as I've said for ages. And it's sort of the ongoing cycle that I'm sort of got the feeling of at the moment, where we get a manager in, they do okay, we don't back them, and then we sack them. It's the same cycle on repeat. What are we on, 14 managers now under Enoch and these guys? That's ridiculous. How many of them have actually got the full backing to the extent that, some deserve more than others, like that we've had better managers and some worse managers over the years, but at the end of the day, how many of them got full backing? You have to say 0. And as I said, it's the same ongoing cycle that's continuing at our club. And so many of these players have been here too long. They've grown stale. They've causing problems or whatever it is. Like, how ridiculous was that article saying that, before they were complaining about extra training, now they're complaining about less of it. Like, what are they on about? Is it childish? I described the sort of the weak mentality thing that I've talked about a lot personally, that the mistakes and just the fact that whenever we go a goal down, we tend to lose is the mentality. And I've got to a point now where I'm not even calling it weak mentality. I'm just calling it straight up childish, because it's that, like, immature, if you know what I mean. It's just blatantly immature now that these players are just, I've never seen such weak-minded players in my life. Seriously,
but what do you think about this part of the article where it says some of the attacking players who feel that Mourinho's training is too focused on defence and not making mistakes, and are unhappy with how little focus there is on coaching complex offensive patterns.
Have you seen the defenders we have? Of course, he needs to focus on defence.
He also says some attacking players have even remarked privately they still are reliant on moves and finishes in the final third that they learned and honed under Pochettino, because there has been so little detailed attacking work under Mourinho. What would you say to that?
Well, what do you expect him to do? He's trying everything he can with sort of these defenders, because that's why he's focusing on the defensive side of things, because he needs to try and cut out these mistakes, which I've said he can't do, because it's proven that no matter what he does, no matter what formation, if it's a 3 or a 4 at the back, or what pairing he goes for, whether it's Toby Sanchez, Toby Dyer, whatever he goes for, right? It just seems to be mistake after mistake. And I said it before the West Ham game. As soon as I saw that lineup, I was like, yeah, we're done. Because you have Dumb and Dumber at centre-back. Sanchez, Dyer, not good enough for Tottenham. Not good enough whatsoever for Tottenham. Genuinely, I've said that I believe they're the worst centre-back pairing in the league. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm not joking. I genuinely believe they're the worst. Because even if you look at teams down the bottom, you look at Sheffield United, I believe they've got a better centre-back unit and pairing than we do. I genuinely think that. You even look at someone like, I don't know, Fulham, even them as well. Scotty Parker doing well for them, sort of well drilling them into a much more, into a team that's a lot harder to beat. I genuinely think that's the worst centre-back pairing in the league, Dyer and Sanchez. Dumb and dumber, mistake after mistake. And I said it, they're uncoachable. And people will tell me when I say uncoachable, oh yeah, but Pochettino got these guys to a Champions League final, blah, blah, blah. Well, are they forgetting that during that time, we were sort of losing games left, right and centre? We didn't win a game away from home in the whole of 2019 or whatever it was. And it just papered over the cracks entirely. And people say the same about the midfield. Like you look at, we got to a Champions League final with no midfield. Let's be completely honest, with Sissoko and Winks there, right? People forgetting that these guys were just losing games left, right, and centre in the league. We lost 13 league games that season in 18-19, and we just
won an
about
away game for a year.
Yeah, exactly. I said we didn't win an away game for a year. We were bloody beating Ajax 3-2, and then the next week I think we lost to Bournemouth or something. That just says everything you need to know. And when it came to the final, they bloody crumbled. They crumbled just like they did in semi-finals, a couple of, I think, the League Cup final and a couple of title challenges as well. A lot of these players, Pochettino clearly said he wanted to get rid of. I believe it was after the last season at White Hart Lane. I believe that's when it was. He wanted to get rid of some of these players. And look, it shows now that was the right thing for the club, to get rid of some of these players. And now we're in a position where we're hearing these things about sort of Mourinho hasn't entirely lost the dressing room, but there are players there that aren't buying into his methods. And it's obvious who it is. For me, it's obvious who it is. You look at Sissoko, that guy's finished. Sissoko, he is finished. Genuinely, the guy walks around against Chelsea in a London derby, even against West Ham. Some of the players in a London derby, I know we improved in the second half, but in a London derby, you're just walking around and not trying to press. That's disgraceful in my opinion in a London derby. And you look at someone like Winks. Honestly, this Winks is a disgrace to the number 8 shirt, the iconic number 8 shirt in football, worn by many icons. Even at Tottenham, you look at players like Gazza and a few others wore it here at Tottenham. But you look at general football, many icons have worn number 8. Winks is a disgrace to the number 8 shirt. And he's another one that, for me, judging by what we've seen when he has played and what sort of when we saw earlier in the season with him coming out saying, yeah, I want game time to play for England. Well, hang on. If you love the club, you would be coming out and saying, yeah, I want play time because I want to play for the club that I love, not just only talking about the Euros. You know what I mean? It's just quite frankly ridiculous, some of the mentality of some of these players. And it's so weak. It really is. We've been saying it for ages that whenever one thing goes wrong, whether it's a VAR decision, whether it's a disallowed goal, whether it's whatever it is, conceding a goal, whenever the slightest thing goes wrong, we seem to crumble. And it's the same players making mistake after mistake after mistake. And as I said, uncoachable. And I question whether we'll ever be able to go forward with the likes of Dyer and Sanchez playing for Tottenham. And as I said, I've lost connection with so many of these players because it's got to a point where they mean nothing. They mean nothing to me because they're just continuously letting us down. You look at Dyer against West Ham when the goal went in, turning to Tanganga and shouting to him, like, how dare you? Tanganga is about what, he's 19, 20, and yet he wasn't even anywhere near that goal. And yet Dyer has the audacity to turn around and just start blaming it on a young player. Come on, do me a favour. Dyer's meant to be the senior centre-back for that West Ham game. He's the oldest one there. He's meant to be the one with the experience. And yet he's turning around, blaming youngsters. Like, how much of a weak mentality that is. I'm sorry, it's quite frankly ridiculous. And we need to, no matter what manager we have, whether it's Mourinho, Nagelsmann, whoever it is, because for me, we need to give Mourinho till the end of the season, because who are you going to get in now? Who are you going to get in midway through the season? Like, Nagelsmann's not going to come till the end of the season. And whatever happens, as I keep saying, until we invest properly, until this board put their hands in their pockets and invest properly in certain areas, we're not going to get anywhere no matter what manager we have. And that's just a harsh reality. And the thing is with Mourinho, he deserves to be backed because you look at his CV, it's proven that if you back him, he'll win you trophies. It's that simple. It's really that simple for me.
All right,
Charlie.
Nice one, Charlie.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Cheers,
Absolutely
guys.
brilliant call and great
Stuff,
comments
mate.
as well.
Cheers, guys. I'll speak to you soon.
Cheers,
Charlie,
in a bit, mate. Ooh,
There's this comment I wanted to
Nice.
talk about. He's talking about Sissoko, and Sissoko's.
oh,
Just press start.
talking.
Talking about Sissoko and kind of like he's the one throwing under the bus. They're talking about Jose's tactics. And here's a comment here. Mark, not pressing question mark. That is a Jose tactic. We don't press anymore. Yes, Sissoko has gone downhill, but he plays the tactics he's told to. I mean, I completely disagree with that.
Couldn't disagree more.
Couldn't agree. Exactly. Couldn't disagree more. You're not telling me the tactics told to Sissoko is to walk around the pitch like you don't give a shit and not make a challenge, you know what I mean? And just let players drift past you. Is that the tactic? Are you telling me the tactic at the back end of Poch was not to press?
Not to press, exactly. That's what I would say. Like the back end of Poch, for the last 2 years of Pochettino, the pressing had completely gone pretty much. We weren't pressing teams. The only way we got to the Champions League final was because we were sitting deep and just hitting teams on the counter. That's pretty much, except for the second half against Ajax, that's pretty much all what we were doing. Second half against Ajax, all we were doing is lumping it to Llorente and causing havoc, and it worked. Like to say this is all down to Mourinho, when you can see very clearly in the Amazon documentary, every time he talks to the team, press high, press high, press high.
And you can even hear him on the sidelines.
Yeah, press.
So you're telling me that the players are playing Jose systems? No, they're not playing Jose. Well, some of them are, but no, they're not, because they're completely throwing him under the bus like they did to Pochettino.
And it's certain players. It is certain players. It's not everyone, but it's
No,
definitely
100%.
it's definitely certain players. And it's the same people complaining about the Pochettino's training methods. They're complaining about Mourinho's training methods. Same I just Mourinho said when he came in, he was brought in to improve on Pochettino, not just completely rip everything up and change it completely. And so when people say he's still using the attacking members of Poch, good. I hope he is. Because they were bloody good methods. And I hope he still attacks like Poch attack, plus get a better defensive method in there. That's what he was brought in to do. So I don't understand the whole big issue with that. Maybe, Mourinho doesn't train with attacking patterns. I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does learn with ways to attack. But if they're still using the way Poch used to attack, I have no problem with that. The big problem with Pochettino is sometimes he didn't adjust to his opposition and we got overawed. It happened in so many big games. And that was what Mourinho was brought in to change. And yes, it hasn't happened at the moment, but when people were rebelling against Pochettino, at the start of his tenure, we didn't just get rid of him. We got rid of the bad apples, and that's what we need to do. If there are bad apples, and judging by the Athletic article, I didn't think so before, to be honest, but now judging by the article,
I did think so before.
There clearly are. There are definitely some bad apples in this squad, and they need to be rooted out and just gotten rid of. Like we got rid of Lennon, like we got rid of Adebayor, like we got rid of Kabul, like we got rid of Andros Townsend, like we got rid of all of these people. We need to get rid of the bad apples that are right now infecting the squad. Maybe Danny Rose, he's still around, isn't he? He's probably not having the best effect around that place. People like Sissoko.
I don't think he's even involved with the first team squad, is he?
Yeah, I know, but he's probably still around the training ground or whatever. He's still part of the club, unfortunately, and I'm sure he doesn't have a positive effect and all that kind of stuff. And that's clearly a problem. But at the end of the day, the box's up to Mourinho in terms of results and how we're doing. And if he says he's a changed man and he's not the manager of old and he's not as confrontational, but the problem with that is his methods before won him titles, won him trophies, and whatnot. And so that confrontational style worked. And yes, it also was it was his biggest strength and his biggest weakness before. But if he's changed, he's got to show that the new way of managing is working as well. And that hasn't recently, anyway. That hasn't shown to be the case. If he can turn it around, then yeah, it will show.
But surely, isn't it plain for everyone to see? All we need is a centre back or two, and we'll be right up there this season. Maybe not on levels of Man City.
Clear out some of these poisonous people.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like in most of the games where we've dropped points this season, yeah, I know there has been 4 or 5 games where we've been absolutely dog shit. But there's been a lot of games where we have dropped points where we've been much better side.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just defensive flaws letting us down. So doesn't that tell you that if we were to get a centre-back or two in, regardless of the deadwood and the toxicity that's going on at the moment within the squad, it would be much improved.
Exactly. I agree. I completely agree with that. That's what I've been saying all season.
All right, let's get Rovshan on.
Rovshan.
Yes, Rovshan.
Thanks, one and you.
Yeah, not bad, not bad. What you got to say today?
About press conference, I'm very positive. Like about the last time, yeah, I was down. I was very depressed. And now I see that he's again like he's not depressed. He has hope. And yeah, I back Mourinho for now. Still, I back him until the end of the season. I just want to give an example. When you look at Liverpool, when you look at Klopp, they were the best team, one of the best teams in the world, past 2 years. And now he lost Van Dijk, Matip, Gomez, like his centre backs. And now look at him; he's in a run of losses. Then just yeah, because he lost his centre backs. Now he's in a bad run. And when we look at us, like just when we have 5 centre backs and none of them is good enough for the Premier League. Yeah, like except Toby, others are just disgrace. Yeah, that's why I think till the end of the season he has to be backed. And when you let's say people say like bring on Rodgers, Nagelsmann, I just don't. I don't think Nagelsmann can succeed at Tottenham right now. He's a good manager for Bundesliga. Really, he's doing good things. But when he comes without just unreliable with unreliable defense, he can do just nothing. And he's not in the experience of playing at like coaching Premier League team. He's coaching like Bundesliga team. Yeah, I back him, Jose, but when you think that still now you cannot buy you have to play with that center back, it hurts really because we will suffer about conceding goals. I think we will concede goals like till until the next season, like until we buy someone for defense. Really, when it is it's too hard for the fans. Just when you don't know if the problem is manager or the squad. Yeah, that's generally what I wanted to say. And about the players who doesn't back Mourinho, well, let's say, I don't rely actually on that kind of sources. Yeah, the Athletic is just quite reliable source actually. But when you look at players, yes, actually, uh, yeah, when you watch the whole game, whole 90 minutes, when you like in the end of the day, it is like, yeah, it's just
Fine
individual.
lines, isn't it?
What?
Fine lines to why we're not winning games at the moment.
Yeah, just yeah. When you look at West Ham game, we have just considered in the beginning of the first half and in the beginning of the second half because of our defenders. That's it, because of our defenders, and we were unlucky. Yeah, I back Mourinho, but just I don't agree with people when they with you, not actually you, but when they say he won Europa League with Manchester United with a poor squad. Yeah, actually it's true. But when you look at that season in the Europa League, there were not that top teams like maximum Ajax, Lyon. But now we have actually quite good top opponents like Leicester, Manchester United, Milan, even Arsenal. Oh, really, I hope we are going to win Europa League, and if yeah, if we win rest of the games in the Premier League, that means 78 points. It's not. It doesn't seem just that we are going to win all the games, but over 70 points, I think it's enough for Champions League. And if
Agreed.
we have just let Manchester United and Leicester City like that kind of hard opponents, like strong opponents, I think we can do top four. Like yeah, generally I back him, and I'm happy about press conference. I'm not interested in tomorrow's game. I look forward to Burnley game. I really want like more than win. I just want clean sheet. Because when defense is not good, when defense actually is good, it gives confidence also to midfield and attack. And now we see that it's not defense is not good enough. Just midfield like Højbjerg recently shows like weak performance. I think it's really like depends on the defense. They show bad game and it affects Højbjerg also and Dombele, let's say. Yeah.
right.
Yeah, generally, if that's all my opinions. Thank you for joining me again. You're doing a good
No,
job.
thank you. Thank you for joining us, Rovshan.
Thank you for coming on,
Thanks a lot,
Rovshan.
mate.
Okay, see you guys.
Nice to see you, man.
Bye.
Let's look at this super chat from Pathak. He says, Jose needs to stay. I don't care what y'all think. He should be our Sir Alex or Wenger. Don't let him leave until he wants to retire. That's a bit extreme. And look, I think, unfortunately, the days of having a Wenger or Ferguson might be over. Unfortunately, our best
those
chance.
days are long gone.
Our best chance was Pochettino. That was our best chance of it, and we screwed that one up by sacking him, not backing him instead of the players. And now we're paying the price because these players are turning on Mourinho. It seems like, or some of them, a lot of them are, or some of them are, not a lot of them, but some of them definitely are. And it's a problem. I don't like these leaks and stuff, and it's just a bad look. And whenever these things happen, it always goes one way. It always goes one way when these things tend to happen. And that's why I don't like.
We had Matt Hayes in the back end, but it must have been John, so he's gone. So let's get on David Harris.
No, very funny. Come on, David.
Yes,
Come on,
David. How's it going, man?
How are you keeping, lads? Look, first of all, I just want to tell people about Jose Mourinho. There is actually an agenda out there, and let me tell you why. So when we were top of the league, playing the way we were playing, winning games, people were sitting there going, oh, but, we need to do it the Tottenham way. Even when you're winning games and you're top of the league, right? And then it's no coincidence that they wait for the first bad period we've gone through under Jose to start getting the tweets out. And some of them have jumped way too early, because what you're seeing now is, I told you so, and tweeting and captioning things they said from ages ago. So they've been waiting for this moment. Third of all, I seen this thing going around on Twitter with where they had man Ezekiel Fryer centre-back and saying this is the Poch team took over. No, it's a cup team from 2014-15 that they're tweeting. They do anything to suit their agenda. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, support the guy that's manager of your club. If Mourinho got sacked and brought in Nagelsmann, I would give Nagelsmann my full backing. You know what I mean? But the thing is, like, they're also trying to sell the agenda that, any other manager can walk in here and get the best out of these players without any investment. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's clear as day this squad needs investment. They say, I'd say today's press conference and some of the stuff that came out today has absolutely killed them, because they sit there. He doesn't do any training. What's he doing on the training pitch? But now we know that, he's spending all his time teaching defenders to defend. You know what I mean? So it just goes to show you that it's the players that are letting them down. You know what I mean? At the end of the day as well, I'll keep saying this, Enoch are part of the problem. Enoch are part of the problem. Do not bring in a serial winner, right, and not back him. It's an absolute crime. It's a crime. And then, these Jose out people, don't tell me about his CV. CVs doesn't matter. Well, sorry, dummy. What do you think he got employed on? His fucking CV. Do you know what I mean? Don't tell me a CV doesn't matter. You employ a manager based on his CV and his past success, no?
Yeah, 100%, David. 100%.
But I wonder if you, David. So I wonder if you, David, in his press conference, Mourinho said he's changed. Mourinho says, thank God I'm not the manager I was, because I've evolved, and I also want to believe that I can be a better manager than I was 10 years ago. He says I'm more of control of my emotions, and he's not as emotional as he was, and he used to create more confrontation. I want to ask you, have you seen evidence for that? And do you think that's a good thing? Because his previous method of management won him a lot of trophies. So if he has changed, is that a problem?
Look, personally, if I was him, I wouldn't change my methods. You know what I mean? If it's good enough for Real Madrid, Inter Milan, Chelsea, Man United, some of the biggest clubs in the world, some of the most successful clubs in the world, why isn't it good enough for Tottenham? No, because Tottenham have to be special. We have to play the Tottenham way, even though it wins us fuck all. Why can't people sit here and take this for 2-3 years and see what success it brings and back it wholeheartedly? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we've played football for 20-odd years now. I've watched it under Harry Redknapp, Pochettino, Martin Jol, and it's got us absolutely nowhere. Why not try this way? I'd actually argue that Jose was way ahead of the curve before any of us fans even got onto this defence, because he spotted it before the season started and he played the way he did up until November. You know what I mean? And then these fans come out, even though we're top of the league, oh no, I can't sit there and watch this. We have to play the Tottenham way. We have to play football. And now look at it. How many of them would kill to go back that way? How many of them would kill just for a win to go back and play that way? In terms of Jose changing the way his methods, look, with this squad he has to. This squad is soft. We know this. It's so soft. Soft underbelly, soft-minded. It's weak. You know what I mean? So he has to, like, there's no point in him coming in, effing and blinding and doing his usual trick to try and get a reaction out of these players, because these players just go home crying to their wife, then ring their mommy and daddy and say, Jose is bullying me. You know what I mean? So there's no point. At the end of the day, he's took this approach for these players because it's the best way. And people call this guy a dinosaur. Wake up. The problem is the caliber of the players. And when you look at the caliber of the players, there's only one way it goes, and that's to Steve Hitch and Daniel Levy and Enoch. At the end of the day, even under Pochettino, right, half of our fan base, believe it or not, are actually PSG fans now, which is unbelievable. I don't understand it. You know what I mean? It's a shock. You know what I mean? You're not a supporter of Spurs if you want to be a PSG fan. You're a supporter of Poch. Get it right. You know what I mean?
But surely,
you know,
David, if you love Poch so much, surely you would still go against the players that throw him under the bus, that are throwing this current manager under the bus. You know what I mean? Why are they digging out the manager when it's the same players that dug out Poch?
Benji, you would think so. You know what I mean? But these people, the reason why they won't say it about the players throwing Poch under the bus is because it doesn't suit their agenda. You know what I mean? For instance, I was on a channel there not so long ago. Now, it was 5 Jose-ins against me. I was the only Jose out. Right? Now, what I noticed is they all wanted to talk about the negatives, but no one wanted to bring up any of the positives. Beating Arsenal, beating City, slapping United 6-1, Southampton 5-2. You know what I mean? There's loads of games there. No one wanted to bring up the positives. They also don't want to bring up the fact that even under Pochettino, we got slapped 7-2 by Bayern Munich. We got knocked out by Colchester. We got beaten 3-0 by Brighton. No one wants to mention this. It's all, they want to make everything a Mourinho issue. And all they're doing is bringing toxic energy to this club and fan base. Like, the thing is, I respect other people's opinions. I get the point. Everyone has an opinion. But, like, I haven't heard one decent argument from a Jose outer to even sway my mind. And this is the problem. Like, you know what I mean? I listen to everybody. I always try and engage both sides. But it's clear it's just an agenda. Like, it's the first bad patch we're going through. And these people want to throw in the towel. But yet, when Poch got sacked, they were all sitting there crying like Poch is our saviour. At the end of the day, Poch told you the problems in his press conferences before he was leaving. I don't recruit players. I need more money. I need better players. You may as well call me head coach, not manager. You know what I mean? All the signals were there. But no, you just want to ignore that because you hate this guy and you didn't want him in the first place. Lads, I didn't want Jose in the first place. You know what I mean? When me and my outlaw were sitting there talking about the night Poch got sacked and all, and it was rumoured Jose, I was like, well, I don't want Jose. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, he's manager of a club. I looked at his CV, you know, like, he's got backing everywhere. And, like, the thing is, with Pochettino, like, we had chances to back Poch to, like, you know, especially on the 2 league runs, the Champions League run, we had chances to back Poch in the January window, get that 1 or 2 quality players and push on. And maybe Poch will still be here today. Do you know what I mean? But the board didn't do it. The players threw them under the bus. They said, oh, you know, the training's too intense. I can't be dealing with this. Jose comes in. You know what I mean? And it's a bit less intense. And now they're still crying. At the end of the day, people need to realise these players aren't winners. Like, I have people telling me, you know what I mean? Oh, Jose out, top four. But, you know, look, top 4 is not a fucking trophy. The whole reason why people get into football is win trophies. The whole reason why Harry Kane trains as hard as he does every day is ultimately to go and win trophies. Now, there's no better man in the business than Jose Mourinho. So surely you back him. I even hear Poch people say, or Jose out people saying, you know what I mean? Oh, well, if he wins the League Cup, I'd sack him. Or if he wins the Europa League, rather than back him in the summer, I'd rather sack him. It's madness. It's madness. You know what I mean? The guy was brought in to get you a trophy and get you back in the Champions League. These people are jumping the gun too early. The season's not over. The season is not over. You know what I mean? We go on a nice little run. Call me crazy or not, I did say before top 4 I think is out of the question. But looking at it, looking at the games we have coming up, if we can go on a nice run, we're not out of it. Europa League, we're still in it. You know what I mean? We've a League Cup final there. And people are talking about sacking a guy that got us to a League Cup final. I want to bring in Nagelsmann. Nagelsmann has the best scouting system in Europe behind him. The players have
He's got Paul Mitchell.
Yeah, Paul Mitchell, who used to be at Tottenham, who left because he couldn't work with Levy, right? They're the guys that find the players, not Nagelsmann. He's the best scouting system behind him. Rodgers at Leicester, another name banded around. Another great system, scouting system, one of the best in Europe. They won a league by spending fuck all money. They bought Mahrez and fucking Vardy for less than $1 million. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, Tottenham's scouting system is a joke. It's one of the worst I've ever seen. Some of these players should not be here. But people want to make everything a Mourinho issue. The Dele Alli was shite under Pochettino for his last 20 odd games. But all of a sudden, Jose comes in, and Jose is the problem. Not Dele's attitude, not Dele's commitment, not Dele's commitment to football. You know what I mean? No, Jose is the problem. Gareth Bale, everyone knew, you know, it was going to take a while for Gareth Bale to get up to speed, right? But everyone wanted him. He fell out with Zidane, but everyone wants to make it a Mourinho issue. It does not make sense. These people, no matter what, you need to get behind the club. You need to get behind the club. Look, we know, like, you know what I mean? Some of these Jose out people are still telling me, yeah, but we know the players aren't good enough. But Jose Mourinho still has to go. No, it doesn't. Football doesn't work like that. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we've built ourselves up to this point where we could appoint someone of the caliber of Mourinho to come in and take us on to that next level. And, you know what I mean? The board have failed us again. They failed the fans again by not backing them, properly. Look, me personally, I actually think Jaws is here till the summer regardless. For me, it doesn't make sense to sack him because the only one you're going to get right now, because he's available, is Eddie Howe. It's as simple as that. You know what I mean? It's as simple as that. And if it does happen, and when we do get Eddie Howe, even when we lose, I want them Jaws out people to sit there. I want them Jaws out people to sit there and enjoy it, because that's what's going to happen. You know this.
What do you say to apparently in this article in regards to Mourinho's methods, not about his intensity of training, but apparently some of the attacking players saying that they feel Mourinho is too focused on defence and are not making mistakes and are unhappy with how little focus there is on coaching complex offensive patterns. What would you say to that from what you've seen?
Well, first of all, if I was them, I'd be blaming the likes of Eric Dyer, Sanchez, Doherty, Aurier, and say, look, I'm missing out on my attacking play because you guys can't fucking defend. You know what I mean? I'd be looking at them and say, just get it right. Just get it right so we can evolve this team, evolve the training methods, and move on. There's no, like, us fans, we're not blind. Your eyes don't lie to you. You know what you're seeing week in, week out from this back line. Is it any surprise Mourinho is sitting there trying to coach the defence? Because at the end of the day, we've seen it. Kane and Son can go and score all the goals they want. This defence is going to leak more. No matter, like we've seen against Everton, you score 4, this defence will leak 5. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There's no, like, people need to understand the reason why he's training the defensive players is because they cannot defend. Now, the problems were already here before Mourinho got here. But people don't want to address that because it doesn't suit their agenda. You know what I mean? It's an absolute joke. Like, the fact that he's spending all his time doing all this defensive training and the fact that these attacking players are coming out and saying they're getting annoyed, I get that. I get it. Like, if I was Kane and Son, I would be annoyed, like, in training. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I'd be pinning the likes of Eric Dyer, Sanchez, and that up, and I'd say, look, you know what I mean? You need to get a grip. You really need to get a grip. Like, it's no coincidence these players have never won anything. Jose Mourinho has more trophies than this whole squad put together, this whole team put together. Do you know what I mean? Even at international level, the only one that's won anything is Lloris. The rest of them, the Belgium lads, the English lads, they get so close, but then they bottle it. They're like, you know, how many more signs do people need to realise that some of these players aren't good enough? Get rid of the deadwood, invest, help the likes of Son and Kane out, because if not, they're gone. They're gone. And people are going to sit here and blame Mourinho for that. I don't think so.
All right, wait, David, let me get this comment. Let me read this comment from, go read it out.
His Tapping Tobes, big up Tapping Toes, by the way. But he's just said, love David, but why can't it be both? When do we judge Jose for coaching? We know some of the players stink, but we can't keep the ball or put pressure on teams. Why can't Jose take blame?
Well, look, the reason why is because it was the same under the back end of Pochettino era, Tapping Toes. But you don't want to mention that. You don't want to mention the fact that it was the same thing happening that got Poch sacked. So, you know what I mean? How can it be both? You know what I mean? You're not going to, and I know this guy. I love him as well. I have great time for him. But he loves Poch, right? And I get it. I love Poch too. But at the same time, I haven't heard him come out and say, yeah, but the same thing was happening under Poch. You know what I mean? And that's the truth of it. He hasn't come out and said, yeah, but the same things were happening under Poch. And until he does, you know what I mean? You're not going to get a fair, valid argument from these Jose out people. Like, they don't want to mention any of the good things that he's done, any of the good results we've done. You know what I mean? No one wants to mention it as soon as we're on a bad run.
Doesn't Mourinho need to improve on what Poch did, even with the players he has?
Yeah, look, you can
Or is
try
it
and
not
improve all you
possible?
want, but when you've defenders making the mistakes they did, for instance, the first goal against West Ham, okay, Sanchez was out over at left back. The ball comes in. Instead of Dyer being a man and going to clear it, he lets it come over his head. And then what's the first thing he does? Turns around and starts blaming Tanganga. No, you're the centre back. You have to go and deal with that ball. That's not a Mourinho problem. Mourinho's on the sideline going nuts about it. I mean, this is individual errors by the players. And to these Josie out people, honestly, you need to be careful what you wish for. You do need to be careful what you wish for. Arsenal wanted Wenger out. You're telling me they wouldn't kill to have him back now because they've seen the job that he actually was doing at Arsenal with the lack of investment. You know what I mean? People need to be careful what they wish for, because you can keep up this potch out and, you know what I mean, the pressure, you can keep it up. But I'm telling you now, you think Nagelsmann is leaving in the middle of a season, the Champions League season, coming to Tottenham? You think Brendan Rodgers is going to leave that Leicester squad to come to Tottenham? No. The only manager we're getting, and it's available and it's the cheapest, and you know what I mean, you have to trust the board with this because they show you time and time again they get the cheapest option. You're getting Eddie Howe. You're getting Eddie Howe because he's available. And then when you get the Eddie Howe, there's your attacking football. You know what I mean? There's your gung-ho approach. Like these people tell me, you know, we don't play attacking football. But like, you know what I mean? When you go and play attacking football, you're relying on your defenders individually a hell of a lot more. We've done it against Everton. What happened? What happened? You can't rely on them. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, people can say, like, you know, Tapping Tobes there, he was saying about Pochettino's training. Sure, it came out today that, you know, he is training them. He's training them defensively. So you can't say he's not training them. You know what I mean? When it's out there, it's coming out from players themselves saying, I'm getting annoyed because all we're doing is defensive training. Yeah, but sure, what do you expect? Like, at the end of the day, if you're a manager, no matter what you're a manager in, a job or anything, the first thing you do is oversee, have a look, you see what the problems are, and you identify the problems in number of urgency. And the defence is urgent right now.
Yeah,
so
but
he's doing the right thing.
We do so much defensive training, and defense is still our biggest issue. Is that not the coaching?
Sorry, say that again.
If we do so much time on the training ground defensively, and we're doing all this defensive training, and we're still not up to it, and the players still can't hack the defensive side of the game, is that not a failure of the coaching side?
No. The fact is, you know, they're getting all the time put into them. All the time that's put into them. Now, if someone puts all their time into me, you know, and same as yourselves, lads, over time you will improve. But these players haven't improved. You know what I mean? They have not improved. He's spending all the time on the training pitch with them. And they haven't improved. In fact, it's actually getting worse. It's actually getting worse. Like, the thing is, these are the same defenders that were making these errors under Pochettino.
You can't train these stupid individual errors that are happening every game. Sanchez falling flat on his ass and not knowing his surroundings. Eric Dyer, the ball floating over his head. That's not coachable. This is just stupid mistakes. That's schoolboy errors that I wouldn't even see in my playground.
Like, even against City, right? The first thing you're taught as a 5-year-old by any decent coach, don't let the ball bounce in your box. What does Sanchez do? Lets the ball bounce in his box. He doesn't even know where it is. How many times have you seen this guy? Anytime the ball's over his head or it's coming to his head, he doesn't know where it is. His awareness is shocking. Eric Dyer, he can't pass the ball 5 yards. He cannot pass the ball 5 yards. Like, you know what I mean? He's like, it's not Mourinho's fault that he didn't go and attack that ball. As a defender and with football IQ and supposedly no football, you know you have to go and attack that ball. Do you know what I mean? Ben Davies getting spun every week, and the guy turns like a roundabout. Now, that's not a coaching issue. That's a self-pride issue. You know what I mean? Basically saying, I'm not going to get beaten today. I'm not going to let him spin me. Like, when you're seeing it happen week after week after week, there's no one else to blame but themselves.
Where do you draw the line, though, David? Where do you draw the line between where the players take responsibility and where Mourinho has to take responsibility for how he's coaching these players?
Where do you draw the line? Look, for me, there is no drawing the line. Honestly, the only way to know is if, regardless whether it's Mourinho or Nagelsmann or whoever in the summer, and gets back in and be able to get better defenders in. That's the only way you're going to know whether it was Mourinho or the players. But honestly, anyone that knows football looking at it, you know it's the players. You know it's the players. You know what I mean? You don't need rocket science to tell you that. You can look at the individual mistakes. Like, the thing is, Mourinho, he gives them the team talk. He sets them out with tactics. He sends them out, with instructions. 5 minutes into the first half, 5 minutes into the second half, it's all out the window. That's the players. Like, how many times have you seen them bottle big games? How many times did you see them bottle games under Pochettino? You know what I mean? There's only so much a manager can do. A workman is only as good as the tools he has to work with. It's that simple. It's like any business. It's only as good as the infrastructure it has. You know what I mean? And in order to get improvement, what does everybody do in this world nowadays? Spend money. You have to spend money to improve. Like, people are expecting miracles from Jose Mourinho, but like, the thing is, Pep Guardiola walked into City. The first thing he done was ask for 200 million for fullbacks because they weren't good enough. You know what I mean? You have to keep, like, the thing is, the way I see it is, right, you buy a player with talent, you nurture that talent. You don't coach it because they've already been coached. What your job is to do is to nurture that talent. Do you know what I mean? But like, the problem, like, even Klopp with Liverpool, Klopp needs a defender or a goalkeeper. They went out and got him the very best. Okay, some of them issues are happening this season, but they have a lot of injury issues. Do you know what I mean? So that does come into it. But the thing is, with Tottenham, we have players here that weren't even first choice under Pochettino, and these Jose out people expect Jose to be able to sit here and coach these fuckers. They're uncoachable. You cannot coach these mistakes out. You cannot. These mistakes are, and when you buy cheap, you buy players that are going to make mistakes. It's that simple. You know what I mean? The cheaper you buy, the more mistakes you're going to get out of a player. Mourinho, for me, is not the problem. It's not the problem. It's recruitment. It's the players. You know what I mean? And it's as simple as that. Look, you can spend 8 hours a day out on the training pitch with Aurier. 8 hours a day if you want. But he's still going to do a brain dead moment in the game where he gives away a penalty. That's not Mourinho's problem. In fact, I actually argue that Aurier made more mistakes under Pochettino and gave away more penalties under Pochettino than what he has done under Mourinho. So therefore, the coaching problem, he's improved under Mourinho, no?
He has. I agree.
There are plenty of players that have improved under Mourinho. But
Harry Kane has even improved under Mourinho. Harry Kane has completely adapted his game.
Harry Kane has completely
adapted his game under Mourinho. People understand it's a coaching issue.
Yeah, of course he has. And Heung-min Son scored more goals right now than he's ever scored before for us in the whole season.
Yeah, but it's a coaching issue, yeah? You know what I mean? This is stupid. It's absolutely stupid. It's a non-starter. At the end of the day, I admire these Jose out people. They want to pretend there's no problems at the club and all these players are good enough. You know what I mean? But look, you will wake up one day. It will slap you. A slappy reality will come straight across that face. It'll slap you. You'll wake up and you'll see, yeah, it's the players. It's the players. Like,
yeah. I'm going to leave you on this, David. I'm going to leave you on this. Sorry, David, what are you saying?
No, just last. These people that want to sell the dream of Nagelsmann and Rodgers, don't be silly. You know they're going to need backing. Be truthful to yourself. Be truthful to the rest of the fan base when you say this. They're going to need backing as well. Stop trying to sell the dream that someone's going to come in and miraculously turn this around.
And all of these guys as well talking about Pochettino and how, we used to be so attacking and so pressing under Pochettino. We weren't for the last year and a half, 2 years. So people need to remember properly instead of remembering just the good times. You got to remember the bad times as well, because there were bad times under Poch.
Colchester, Bayern Munich, Brighton, you know what I mean? There's a list of games there.
Exactly.
So,
all right, David.
Look, in Jose we trust, lads. We keep rolling till the end of the season. You two guys are doing an absolute brilliant job. Keep it up. You know what I mean? You've given me so much entertainment the last few days, especially earlier on when the two of you were going on rants about this. I absolutely loved it. But honestly, keep up the work. You provide great entertainment for people in lockdown and everything else. And you know what I mean? You're an inspiration to many, so keep it up. And everyone else out there, get behind Jose, get behind the squad. You know what I mean?
Just honestly, get behind Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah, get behind Tottenham Hotspur. These Jose out people, I genuinely do think some of them might be eating their words by the end of the season. Do not write this guy off yet. He's come out firing in his last 2 press conferences. Jose with his back against the wall, there's no better man. So in Jose we trust. Come on, you Spurs, and in Benenson we trust.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, David.
We've got a couple of super.
I just want to apologise to everyone waiting because I think we've run out of time today.
Let's just read out a couple of super chats.
So we won't be able to be getting any more guests on. I know there's quite a lot of people waiting there, but it's been a mammoth stream for us today.
Yeah, we didn't expect to go on this long, to be honest, but we do have time constraints. Let's just read out the super chats. Paul Gregory says, with our poor defense. We should be playing high press possession football to keep the ball away from our defense. Yeah, but it's easier said than done. Rio wants to do that, but he can't. He just can't. Pochettino, that was his whole thing, and he couldn't do it by the end of his career, at the end of his time there. It just wasn't possible. Like a team is, as Mourinho says, a puzzle. You have to fit the pieces you have. You can't just take pieces that you don't have and make it fit. We have to just deal with what we go. And that's why he keeps saying we have to deal with what we have. And we just bat that off as if like he's being toxic. But that's the truth. It's the same with Pochettino. He had to deal with what he had at the time. And if we couldn't refresh the squad and we can do it, we have to deal with the squad that we have. And that's what we had. Clearly they're up to the tactics that we want to play. And that is what it is. Time is on the essence, says Pep has spent 1 billion on City players, although he has had one of the best squad on paper when he arrived. But when Jose asks for money, it's an issue. I mean, yeah, look, I've said this time and time again. When Pep had in his first season, when he was having performance after performance where defense were making mistake after mistake after mistake, no one was like Pep's finished and let's get rid. They were like, okay, we're going to give you 500 million to get Walker, Mendy, and Laporte and all these players. That's what happened.
The goalkeeper wasn't working. Spend a shitload of money on Claudio Bravo. That doesn't work. Spend a shitload of money on Edison. You know what I mean? They've got an empty chest of cash that we don't have.
Same with Klopp. When he came into Liverpool, he had a bunch of defenders that constantly screwing up. Karius, Lovren, what's his name? Klavan, that rubbish player. Moreno, Alberto Moreno, the left back. That was his dependence. He had to make do with. He had to make do with that until the summer, until he could replace them. No one said Klopp's finished. Klopp's rubbish. What they did do was give him a bunch of money to improve the defense, and that's what they did. They improved the defense. Even Pochettino in his first season, we said that at the beginning of the stream. His first season, he had a bunch of players who were rallying against him, who didn't want to play for him. He was having. I remember we lost one game 3-0 to Stoke near the end of the season. We had a horrendous game. He was one deflected free kick away from getting the sack. But what happened? We decided to give him some time.
Plenty of Spurs managers wanted him to get sacked.
Fans, yeah, a lot of fans. I remember a few fans who I'm close to were like, "We got to get rid of this guy. He's not good enough." And by the end of the season, what happened? Did we sack him? No. What we did was we got rid of all the deadwood, all the rubbish he didn't want, all the rubbish who were not playing with it. We didn't say Poch isn't good enough to motivate these players. We're like, if you're not going to play for him, you're out. It's his Poch's way or the highway, and that's what we got to do. I feel with this squad, with some of them.
One last super chat here from Will Stewart. Before we end the stream, I'd be willing to bet that it's only the struggling players who are complaining. No way Son, Tanguy, and Kane are complaining.
Exactly. I can't see it being Højbjerg complaining. I can't see it being a lot of Lloris. I don't think he's the one complaining. I think it's a lot of these players who are struggling to adapt or have been here for too long.
Yeah,
and I think that's the case at the moment. And look, maybe I'm being emotional because of that. Because I just think that Athletic article really pissed me off.
Yeah,
it really annoyed me reading that. And I just see it, unfortunately, usually with these things, it only goes one way. But hopefully, if Mourinho can turn it around and we can still have a good season, things can still look up. But at the moment, after what's come out the last few days, it's really rubbed me up the wrong way.
Yeah.
But
look, well, let's hope some other things can rub you up the wrong way instead.
I just like the confidence he exudes, Mourinho, in his press conferences. He doesn't seem to be panicked. A lot of the times, at the end of his Man United tenure, he was getting very confrontational with the press.
End of his Chelsea as well.
Yeah, he was getting very annoyed with the press. He was getting very confrontational. He was like getting angry with them.
He hasn't been here long enough yet.
True, but he was like snapping at them and stuff like that. I haven't seen that side from him yet, and I still think he has a lot of the players on side, and I still most of them anyway. But I don't like these leaks whatsoever.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. I want to apologize for people in the back end that can't be coming on because we got to cut the stream now due to time constraints. But I would like to say thank you for everyone for coming on, watching, getting involved in the channel, all the subscribers and the likes today. If you haven't done that, by the way, smash that like and smash that subscribe button. Once again, thanks for joining us. Join us for our live watch along tomorrow, the Europa League second leg against Wolfsberger, 5 o'clock kickoff, and then the post-match fan show. And we'll try and get the fans on, which couldn't be able to come on today. We'll try to prioritize them tomorrow evening. But yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always,
come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.